Welcome to Be a Voice. This is Britt Carpenter on USALA Media. Thanks for joining me today. Today I have my guest. I have James Whitehead. Hey James, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm having a very great morning. Everything is going good. My son kept me up, but I'm here.
How old's your son?
He's 5 months.
5 months.
5 months.
5 months old. Is he a sleeper, a crier? What is it?
He was a crier at first. Then stopped being a crier, and then started to be a long sleeper. But now he's sleeping for longer hours, and I'm like, oh man. I would get up out of nowhere, like, did I hear something? And he'd be sound asleep, and I'd be so happy. I'd go right to sleep. But I think what it was, I mixed the milk with the oatmeal, and now it weighs heavier on his stomach, so he's able to like go longer and sleep. Yeah, because the milk usually
fill him up.
Yeah, it fills him up.
Fill him up. Yeah, like a little carb loading at night or something like that, but do it with some milk.
Yeah, stuff
So
like a turkey.
is this your first child?
No, second.
Second. How old's your other child?
11, she'll be 12.
Okay, it's a big age difference there, huh?
Big age difference.
Big age difference.
Yeah, huge age difference. I was like, wow. I didn't expect it to be that wide of a gap, but you know, the economy and everything, how it's going, it made me really rethink about having a kid too soon. So the gap was good. The gap was good for me.
Are you glad to be a new father?
Yeah. And I had a son, so it was like, wow. I thought I was going to have all
now
girls.
you be done. You got a girl and a boy. You're done.
I'm done. Yeah, I think
You're
I'm
done.
done. I think
When
so.
do you think you're done?
I think I'm done.
When do you think you're done? You might not be.
I mean, well, my lady, you know, she wants to.
She wants more?
She wants more. And my son was her first one, so.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
well, you might have to do with another one there, just you know.
I think so.
Yeah.
Probably two
This
more
is why I
times.
like dogs. They're so much easier to deal with. You know, so much. You know, the dogs don't really keep you up at night crying or anything like that.
No.
They poop, you pick it up in a bag. It's easy. You know, kids poop, you got to wipe their butt. It smears all over. That's just, you know.
You know what's crazy? I got a puppy named Taz.
Okay.
And I didn't realize how fast they grew. Like, 'cause I'm always buying dogs as adults. Until I never had a puppy in my life. I always rescued the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
This one just happened to be given to me from a friend. Get the dog, like man, this dog is growing quickly, and he's needy like a child. He's needy, and then I'm like, wow, I got the puppy to grow up with my son, but unfortunately, I was not aware of how fast dogs grow, and I'm like, wow.
Oh. Very fast. They you know, they're like, you know, don't forget, you know, that's 7 years there, man. They grow very quickly.
Yeah.
So, and look at you all dressed up today. You have me feeling like, you know, I need to like up my like wardrobe game.
Yeah, I'm trying. You know,
Talk to the
I'm
wardrobe
old school.
department here. You know, get me dressed up a little bit better.
Oh,
You know,
have somebody right over there.
yeah, somebody. You know, it's got to be somebody in these wrinkled jeans and wrinkled shirt. I pulled it out of the wash. I'm not even sure if it's clean, but you know what? Here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
But thanks for joining me today. I'm excited. You know, we've been trying to get this going for a while. I know who you are. I'm very well aware who you are. But you know, for those people who are tuning in that may not know who you are, tell them, who are you, James?
My name is James Whitehead. I am born and raised in Philadelphia, and I am running for city council in the 7th District, and I run a nonprofit called the RFKC. I also have an advertising company called Royal Marketing. For those who don't know, you can check it out online. I started my nonprofit, which I want to speak more about, which stands for the Residents for Frankfurt and Kensington Committee. And the reason why I started the nonprofit is because I seen that there was a certain need that wasn't being fulfilled by other nonprofits. Like, because you have the drug epidemic, which swallows up all the attention, but the basic needs of people that live around in Kensington feel like they're ignored, right? So what I did with the RFKC was to do things for the summer. Like, I'm actually planning a summer event. Like, I'm trying to put together like a summer concert for the neighborhood, because the neighborhood, we don't really have those type of things where we're all in one place and listening to music, artists performing, you know, face painting, the blow up, what do you call that? do you call it?
Those bounce houses
The
and
bounce
stuff?
houses,
Oh,
yeah, the bounce houses.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who like actually slings them around to like kids parties and stuff like that. He makes bucks on that. That's his retirement fund right there.
Yeah,
That's sick. Those bounce houses, yeah.
Yeah.
It's something we need to get into there. But so you know, you're pretty community focused, community oriented. And what's the name of your nonprofit again?
RFKC, which stands for the Residents for Frankfurt and Kensington Committee.
Okay. And where do you focus a lot of your work, your outreach, your need? What area?
Well, the areas that I cover predominantly and tend to focus on is Frankfurt and Kensington. Those are only two areas. You know, there are certain neighborhoods within the 7th District, just that district happens to be probably one of the, matter of fact, the poorest district in the city of Philadelphia.
And let's talk about it. A lot of people out there don't know. They don't even know their own districts they live in. When they go to vote, they don't even realize what district it is. You know, people have those little signs at the voting tables and stuff like that. What is District 7? Where is District 7? What does it cover? What does it encompass? Because people don't get it wrong. It's not the same district as like the district, like the police districts are so different than council districts. So
I got asked that question before.
You have?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird. Like, oh, aren't you in the 25th district? Like, you know, is it going to combine now? Like, what is that? No. So 7th district would really encompass what?
So the 7th district is Juniata, Frankfurt, West Kensington, East Kensington, Harrogate, Oxford Circle, Lower North Philadelphia, Port Richmond, and Bryceburg, and Northwood.
You got a huge blue-collar working class demographic of constituents that you're looking to represent.
Absolutely.
Are you born and raised in that area?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
And what made you decide, what was that aha moment where you're like, you know what, I want to be a voice for these people?
It wasn't until I went back to the neighborhood because, you know, I used to live in New York City and, you know, being there for a while and then coming back and going to Germantown and living there. And I've been away from Kensington and Frankfurt for so long. Like, what happened was when you live in that type of environment, you just focus on getting out. You don't really pertain to moving back, right? You're always thinking about getting away, finding something better, not wanting to live in that. And when I finally came back, I went to go see a house with my friend, and I came back. I'm like, whoa, what happened? Like, this was probably like 2018. I went back after probably a 10-year hiatus, haven't been back. And when I went back, there were things that, like the POW, there were resource centers that I had as a child that was there. Like we had a POW, we had the YMCA, we had a bunch of the churches that would take us out and do things to have fun. We had the Salvation Army, we had a community center, we had a lot of resources. But when I went back, none of those resources I just named were still there. We just had our community development center reopen, right? You know, even at Bridge and Pratt, we had a Thriftway up. It was a Thriftway up there, and that closed down. So it became a food desert. It was a loss to resources. The homeless and drug addiction people that were on drugs, it started to grow. And what made me want to do something was like, hold on, this wasn't like that. So I figured like I have, I'm the voice of the community, and I feel, so there are a lot of people in that community that still know me. And I feel like, you know what, if anyone can do it, I'm going to do it. And people encourage me from Kensington and Frankfurt alike to do it. So.
You know, and it's people in that, you know, I think people have to understand, and a lot of people don't, because, you know, I run my nonprofit and I've been, I'm in recovery, and I was, you know, part of Kensington as part of the problem of being on the streets buying it. And, you know, now I'm out there trying to, you know, help the residents, you know, that are living there, because people forget that the residents who are living there aren't the ones who are on the streets that are buying it. You know, they're not in their own community buying it. It's just, this is an outside force, and they've sort of just been taken over. And it's what you said before was like, you're looking for a way to get out.
Right.
And I think what people tend to, you know, I hear people say, well, if they don't like it, they can leave. Well, that's not so easy. You know, sometimes their entire life is invested in that. That's all they have. It's all they know. It's that's all they can do. Not many people get lucky enough or fortunate enough or blessed or grateful or whatever to be able to get out. So they're the ones that are there. So they need these voices. And they need voices that people will understand. What I find very interesting about you is you have this voice. You are for the people. You believe in the community. You want to see betterment in the community. You are running for council, but you're also running on the Republican ticket.
Well, I switched to independent to have a second crack at it. So I did that.
So you're running on the independent now.
Yes, I'll be running independent.
I like that actually. I like the fact that because you'd be able to bring both. What was that? What was that all about? What was your thought process on that?
Well, my thought process was my decision. My decision. It wasn't anyone from the like the Republican Party pushing me or
it wasn't Drew Murray pushing you, was it?
No,
it wasn't Drew.
That's my
boy.
boy.
Rough him up, right?
No. Drew Murray. Love you, Drew Murray.
Yeah, he didn't get a toaster or anything for that, did he? For getting you on the Republican Party.
No.
Okay, we're just checking on that.
So
right.
that I made a commitment, right? And I'll always be Republican. I made a commitment to my neighborhood to run. And the first time I ever ran was in the special election, which was last November, so I didn't have to get petitions. So a lot of things were new to me. Now this upcoming February, the February that just passed, it was petition season. Then I started to see, you have to, without those petitions, you're not going to get on the ballot, right? So when I was in my community, I'm like, wow, there are a lot of people that are not listed Republican. And when I didn't get enough signatures to get my name on the ballot, then I seen how challenging it was, and very challenging in Kensington to convert people from Democratic to Republican. So what I did instead was took the time out away from it all to study the game of politics, local politics, and understanding the needs of the people. Then I was, going to the store one day, and the lady was like, "What happened?" And Miss Ross is her name, and she's like, "Well, what happened? You've been quiet lately." And I'm like, "Well, I've been recouping and learning things and studying." She was like, "Are you still going to run?" And I'm like, "You know what? I made a commitment." And that's what made me switch to independent, because it gave me an opportunity to have a second crack at it. Not only that, but now I get to get the people from Republican side and Democratic side. So that's
and people are seeing you. They're still seeing your visibility. Your face is still out there.
Yeah,
people are seeing you're looking to be a voice for the people, regardless of whatever the case may be. I think that's where people look at it, and all of a sudden they start to separate people by the oh, you're Republican, you're Democrat, and I think a lot of that was brought on by our former president, and everything that happened there. And of course, the COVID and all that, there was a lot of, I hate to say it, but there was a lot of segregation of people back then, and it continues on today. I think if people take that away and take away that label of what party you're running for and really what the platform is that you stand for and what you're looking to do, that's what you're looking for, right? What is your platform? What do you want for the people?
What I want for the people, so Frankfurt and Kensington is completely, they go through the same things, right? There's poverty, there's loss of jobs, there's the food deserts, there's the lack of resources, and all four of those that I just stated will be on my platform. Like even the educational part, right? Frankfurt High School closed down.
It did.
Frankfurt High School closed down, not permanently, just to the end of the year.
Because of the asbestos, right?
Yeah, the asbestos. And that was, I went there in 9th grade.
It's quite a few schools in the district, though, in the city. The city's having a lot of these schools. So
a lot of these schools, yeah.
But Frankfurt's amazing. I mean, how many students was that?
I have no idea. I have no clue how many students.
I mean, regardless, they're out of a building.
Yeah.
Again.
And mind you, and people listening, I want you to understand this, right? The Frankfurt High School is the only high school within that 19124 zip code. And I told you there was no community center. There was the no PAL, no resources. So, because when the school closes down, you can't go to the resources within the school because the school closed down because of asbestos. Now, what do the kids that have little resources, probably unemployed, nowhere to have recreational fun. What are they going to do?
Go to the streets.
Exactly.
Get themselves in some trouble. They shouldn't be at ages that they shouldn't even be in that position.
Right.
And we see it.
Yeah. Kids do, the darndest things, especially when they're bored. They're young and they're malleable.
Well, plus they also, I think, they're impressionable because of the fact that they've never seen money like that. They've never see how quick they could make that type of money, and it's an impressionable sort of thing.
Absolutely.
It really is. So, and it's interesting because you're in part of your district is Harrogate. Yeah. And, Harrogate has a big voice in the area, and they are very big. Are you familiar with Shannon Farrell-Paxis?
I heard of.
Yeah. She's a big voice over there. Really big community. They've been really, really vocal in combating the opioid crisis and the issue with the homelessness, in Kensington that keeps going up and up and up.
Yes.
And that's where I first encountered you was USALA was out in the streets doing some, work on things. And, you were speaking up. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about what you see out there? The people, the opioid, the war on drugs out there right now. How do you?
Yeah, I don't think it's a war on drugs over there. No, I'm gonna tell you why. Because when I'm looking at the war on drugs, I think about Law and Order of the '80s and the '90s, right? When you really, because when crack hit the streets in African American neighborhoods, it was just straight lock them up. They're using outside, lock them up. That's the truth.
Oh yeah, no, it's the truth.
And then you look at what's happening now in Harrogate. It's open air. They're doing it in front of the police. Like if you went to my Instagram, James Whitehead _JWW CEO, you would see that yesterday when I was going home, I took pictures along my walk because I have to walk from Somerset because Allegheny train stop has closed down because they're doing some repairs,
painting, all that.
So I walk along the route and just took the pictures. And one of the pictures, it's Philadelphia police and the guy like laying in the wheelchair, high. So the open air and the openness and the acceptance, it really bothers me because allowing that is only going to grow the user base of drug addicts, because you have people from the county, you have people from different parts of the country who see that and go, oh, what? I can't do this.
I can go there.
I can go there and do it. Just openly
and they do.
Right?
I want to go back to real quick what you said though. What people don't realize, and I think there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of resentment. There's a lot of explaining to be done, especially by the city, as to why things were different in the 80s and 90s when it was the crack epidemic, and they were getting locked up and they were getting thrown into jail immediately in the back of wagons and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden it started going into this opioid epidemic, into the heroin crisis. Yeah. And all of a sudden the demographic of person who was buying changed. Right. And all of a sudden it's a hands-off approach. There's some resentment about that, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a huge resentment because, if you're African American in the inner city, you would start to think that racial disparities have something to do with that, right? And it was like, well, where was all of this at when African Americans were going through crack? We didn't jail. And I'm not saying that we should jail those users that are out there now, because jail doesn't work.
But what's the difference? What's the difference between them getting thrown in jail for crack and people overdosing on the streets and laying there and not being touched? What is the difference? Why?
So the difference to me would be like, well, I'm not opposed to it. However, locking someone up doesn't cure, the drug, right? Being on drugs is not a crime. Using it outside in the openness is. Selling it is. What I would want to see is a real plan put together, because it's going to take more than $20 million to fix that problem down there. And what's going to happen is they don't have a comprehensive plan. You lock them up and they go back out. Now what?
What do you throw money at though? What programs are in place?
That's well. I was actually there with. I was there when they talked about the $20 million in the city of Philadelphia receiving 220 million over the 18-year span, if I'm not mistaken. And
178 through the Scouter Good Foundation, you mean?
yeah,
Yeah, that those grants were just being awarded, and people were getting. And that's another thing. They're giving all these grants out. Like, where's the money going to be gone? Like,
yeah.
Where's the accountability there?
The oversight committee, but
Yeah.
I even actually said that.
Sorry, when you said oversight committee, I laughed because is there really one? Anyway,
I don't know. It's like see, I'm a resident, so we can talk. We're residents, so we can talk like this.
It's the truth.
And I'm looking at it going, who's on the oversight committee, and how's the oversight committee get selected? Where's the accountability? Is the records going to be public? Now, do the nonprofits have super tight knit relationships with the nonprofits, the people that on the nonprofit board, and so many worries go on. Like, cause it's almost like, okay, when I ask you a question about the oversight committee, and you give me some shallow answer to dance around it, that worries me.
See, I played it smart. My nonprofit played it very smart. We did funding through. We applied for the grant, but we didn't apply for the $100,000 grant. We applied for the $20,000 grant, and we applied for it for the recovery home specifically. So it's for the recovery process of people coming out. So now that money can be tracked. You give us $100,000. How are you tracking $100,000?
Right.
You know, and who's to really say it's going for the opioid crisis? You know,
That's
like
the point. Now, I also
who's to say it's not going for a nice new Mercedes cargo van to drive around in or something? I want to know that.
Right. You want to know that.
And if so, what do you need it for? You know, so these are things I'm looking at. But you're right. This oversight committee, I like that. You should really go to them and ask them for everybody's name on the oversight committee, and
I'll ask again.
Yeah, find out. They should be able to give you that information.
Hopefully, they don't tell me, "Hey, how was the Phillies game?"
Yeah.
So, like, I also believe that there are. I really want to believe, and I truly believe that there are nonprofits. Like, for instance, those of the community who have nonprofits. I trust them more than I would trust an outsider just coming out of nowhere wanting that, because you have nonprofits who really put a lot of work in outpatient. The only inpatient center that I know of in Kensington is Kensington Hospital, right? Offering beds and places to sleep and food and so forth and so forth. There's a huge difference between outpatient and inpatient.
Absolutely. And I have a lot of friends that have nonprofits that run, you know, wound care. They have clinics, they have crisis centers. They actually do have vans. So those that do the vans, you do good things with their vans. They don't just, you know. So I have that, and they are doing good stuff. But then, you know, they're getting a lot of resistance from the community and the residents because they don't want to bring that in. You know, now you're coming in and you're enabling the people who are out there using by bringing these resources into the community. And you're not focusing on the resources that are needed for the residents behind closed doors.
Yes. So, see the needle. So look, let me break this. People ask my take on this all the time. To go, well, the needles. Do you agree with the needles? And I'm going, okay. Now the syringes they're talking about. They go, do you agree with just giving away free syringes and free crack pipes? And at first, I was so adamantly against it because I see that they create an income from it. They create a stream of income. So what happens is when you're at these train stops like Allegheny, Somerset, type
works. Yeah.
Yeah, works. And they'll sell the syringe for $1, and then you created a stream of income.
I know. I used to be one of those persons who would buy the works, you know, for them. But I also want people to look at it like this too. I think, you know, harm reduction comes in many forms. And harm reduction, if you're giving somebody a clean syringe in order to inject, that's great because it's reducing, you know, disease and it's reducing harm in other people. If you're giving somebody a clean pipe, you know, it's reducing, you know, a lot of different things too. If those people are choosing,
but go ahead.
If those people are choosing to sell that you're giving it to them, you know, I got to play devil's advocate and look at it as being harm reduction as well, because now they're not stealing from people and the community, and they're not increasing the cost of inflation by stealing. So I think people need to like really pick and choose sometimes how because harm reduction overall could be a really bad concept, but it's such a great concept.
Yeah.
But anyway, I wanted to throw that in there.
My sister Satara, who works in the pharmaceutical field, and I had a lopsided view of it. And thank you, Satara, for telling me this. She's like, James, I think you really need to think about it. And I'm like, what is it that I need to think about? And I listened to her because she's been in the pharmaceutical industry for a long time. And I was like, give it to me straight. She goes, do you know that those needles, and I was like, well, what is she's like, those needles, are harm prevention and just stopping the spread of disease, which can be deadly, right? Now they're dying from diseases plus the overuses of the drugs. And I'm like, you got a point. And she was like, do you know how, she's like, I want you to do something. I want you to Google how much it costs to treat a person with hepatitis, I think it was B. This is hepatitis B.
It doesn't matter, any of them.
And she was like, if they're getting Medicare or Medicaid, and taxpayers pay for that, and I'm like, wow, Satara, are you serious? Like, and I Googled it, and then I was like, you're right. I never thought of it that way. And then I was like, well, what was the reason for free crack pipes? And she was like, well, there are diseases that can be passed through crack pipes, and I wasn't aware of that. So again, Satara, thank you very much for giving me that education part of it. Me, I'm okay with it. With new information.
Well, now and it's that education. It's bringing awareness. It's fighting the stigma behind it. I mean, because most people who are old school or who don't even have a relationship with somebody with substance use disorder or something like that, when they see that, all they think right there is enabling. You're enabling these people. Now, you know what? What are we enabling them to do? We're enabling them to live. We're enabling them to get on one more day. They're going to find us somewhere, whether we're there or not. When I say we, it's the people doing the outreach. It's the harm reductionists out there doing what they're doing. And they're also saving a lot of taxpayer dollars by the lack of not treating them as far as in hospitals, because they are preventing diseases. They are preventing illnesses. Right. And that right there. And, so it's people got to pick and choose their battles wisely with this right now. Yeah. This is 2023, almost 2024. We're not back in the 70s where, it's just not, it's not the same, man. Right. It's definitely not the same. People need to not look at it like that. So
check this out. What do you think about this one? Now I'm looking at it going, okay, you can't get rid of those programs. Where's free syringes? No, we ain't even gonna call it free syringes. We're gonna call it harm prevention, clean syringes and crack pipes, right? Because people hear free, they think money involved. So let's just change the notion. What I was thinking about was like, okay, let's do that. But what if you created an inpatient, mind you, what if I created an inpatient treatment facility center that gives them permanent housing and permanent bed, permanent food, clean needles under doctor supervision, basically totally rehabbing them and to getting them back in the world. Like, for instance, if I had an inpatient treatment facility center, it would be geared towards rehabbing them. Like, I have a friend that turned to drugs because he lost his mother. He didn't have grievance counseling. Grievance counseling comes a long way. You have doctors who are professionals to help, figure out the root cause of why. And I feel like having an inpatient treatment facility center where they have permanent food and shelter and clothes, things that they need to survive, and then put them back out. But I don't agree with the outpatient part where they just come in, get some of the resources, and then go back out, because you give them heroin, then they're fighting against Zalazan. Zalazan is stronger and it's a lot cheaper. So they're going to do that. Like, you can't, in order for them to really change over, I think getting them out of the environment. Like, I'm always giving needles and things like that, but at least make a commitment. That's my thing. Like, make a commitment. Come on.
And I think that's where, the city fails. There's so many empty buildings. There's so many empty schools, so many empty whatever that people can, the city could, really open up. They really fought, the safe consumption site or the, reverse prevention sites like crazy by putting them in the city. And maybe it's because they went about it wrong, but I think they're forgetting the long-term effects of how it could have some counseling effects on that too, and how you can combat this as well. You know, there's so much that goes into this. It's such a tightly woven thing, but there's so many like avenues to go down.
Yeah, it is.
You know, so and you actually have learned a little bit more than since you know entering this, especially with words of stigma and stuff like that. I see you've changed some of your verbiage there.
Yeah. I changed a lot of my verbiage.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it, when you hear that? Like you think about it, like there's certain words that people don't like or want to be associated with, and it has negative connotation. And when you use it, you're like, oh damn, you know. So it's cool to see that and hear that. So thank you.
You got it.
Is this from your sister? Is this all because of your sister, or is this your part of your evolution and growing?
Evolution and growing. My sister, because she's a part of the evolution, because she taught me that educational part, which is part of my change of mindset, which is part of my evolution. The number one thing that I think I had a problem with doing, the most difficult thing for me was the transitioning, like living the life that I, you know, freely running the advertising company and enjoying, you know, being like private citizen or private citizen, a public citizen. Like, you know, you can do things, nobody really cares. Now I'm like happen to watch what I do because I know that I represent the community in a different light. So the transitional part, but you know, every now and then, I'll drink a Miller High Life.
Yeah, nice. Every now and then. I saw you at the Allen Dom rally. That wasn't a Miller High Life you had in your hand there.
What was that?
An old fashioned?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, I know it was. I smelled it. I can smell that. That's all right though. You enjoyed it. That was a good rally. I was happy to see they're supporting Allen Dom, and you know, our mayoral race is going to be well underway now with Sherelle Parker, you know, as the Democratic lead, and then of course we have, you know, O as our Republican. And how do you feel about that? What do you think about this race coming up?
It's going to be very interesting.
You weigh your words there, huh? Weigh those words.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be very interesting. I'm actually. I want to give kudos to David O. And Sherelle Parker, for her being an African American woman, black woman running for mayor, and you have David O, who's an Asian American running for mayor. And you know, I don't never remember seeing any of that in my lifetime. Most certainly. Seeing like an Asian run for mayor or a black African American woman run for mayor in my lifetime, I don't remember that. You know, the far back I go is Street when he was the mayor. Anything prior to that, I wasn't paying attention to it.
Well, anything prior to that, it was a totally different city.
Yeah,
it really was. Street really paved the way for you know, some voices that were pretty big out there, and you know, Kenny destroyed our city. I have no problem saying that. He's destroyed our city. He's probably the worst thing that ever happened to Philadelphia, and good job, Mayor.
Oh, I'm not,
you know, but I'm interested to see how this will turn out. You know, this is the 100th mayoral race. We have David O for the Republican, like you said, an Asian American, and we have Sherelle Parker, you know, the first woman, let alone a black woman.
Yeah.
And this is going to be interesting because all those Dems who were in the mayoral race for the primary that didn't make it, they're going to be backing her, and that's some firepower.
A lot of
firepower. Do you think Rebecca Reiner will back her? You think she'll be a voice for her? Or you think she's sort of just going to be like hands off now? You think it was all about like just the fact that she knew what was going on in the city because she was city controller, and now it's like, oh well, I didn't get elected, so.
I would, because they both worked for the city of Philadelphia during their terms at the same time, I believe. Mm-hmm. I would guess she would. I mean, you know, they were colleagues in the city. I think that.
You would hope she does.
Yeah, I would hope she does. Right.
I hope she does. You know, and it's funny you say about terms too. I mean, let's face it. There's a lot of, you know, people a lot of city council that are out there that have been in office way too long. And
I said this over and over.
They need terms.
They need term limits.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You could tell how long they've been in office because they're wearing the same ties and outfits and suits that they wore when they were elected into office, and they look just as bad. Some of them just really need to go. Some of them, why are they there? Why do the people keep voting? Why, James? Tell me. Why do people keep voting for the same thing? Complacency. Why?
People love insanity. You know what that is, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah, I
keep
do.
doing the same thing and expecting different results. Usually, to my knowledge, the incumbent is the hardest person to take out because people are used to the incumbent, used to seeing his name. Like I also think that when it comes to this is me being a private citizen speaking, right? So people in the inner city, because you think about the voting turnout, right? What was it, 23%?
23%.
23%.
Hell of a turnout.
Yeah. Okay.
What a joke.
So that lets you know that people really aren't aware of the politicians. Like if you go in Harrogate and you talk to the people in the community, like, yo, who's your state rep? They don't know. And I know this because I'm constantly asking these questions. Excuse me. And they don't know. They really don't know. So the people who do vote are used to voting one way, and that's usually for the incumbent. The reason why I think that there needs to be a term limit is because it would usher change, right? 8 years. I would think that it'd be. They should make a rule change to the home rule charter where city council can do 2 terms, and then some new coming in, because that means that the city now has a chance for the younger person to come in who may be a millennial or a Gen Z and change and sort of shift the direction of the city of Philadelphia. Like Philadelphia is not a tech city. It's not.
No.
Right? And I constantly talk about this.
It should be.
We should be. Why not? What's the biggest tech company in Philadelphia? Comcast? Right? So even with STEM, like there's not a lot of STEM in the city of Philadelphia. And all of that is the future, right? So when I think about the city of Philadelphia, I'm thinking about the future of Philadelphia. I'm thinking about how does it compete? Because whether you believe it or not, we're competing with other cities like San Francisco and New York and DC to bring in and attract the best talent.
You need to have a conversation with Jacqueline Means. She was crowned Miss Philadelphia in February. And she is known as the STEM Queen because she has a nonprofit that works with, the STEM educational program and all the young youth and stuff like that. So you're talking about the younger youth and getting these people involved. This is a way to do it. That's a way to the voice.
STEM controls the world: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So it's we need to definitely do that because, like I said, we're competing with other cities, right? You want the best talent. You don't want the city to leave. People leaving the city. And there's one political person, I won't say no name. They say, I can't believe the population is dwindling. Well, if your school sucks, crime is high, your jobs are marginalized, where it's only healthcare, you're working for the city of Philadelphia, or you're in politics, or you're in law. Like that's like you work. Like, healthcare is the biggest, right? Think about Jefferson; they employ like 46,000 people. You're either doing healthcare industry, you're either in law, you're either working for the city through, police officing, the water department, or fire department, these things, right? Those are the biggest employers in the city of Philadelphia. But when I'm going and people are looking at it going, well, I don't want to be into none of that. I want to be into tech. But the city doesn't cater to tech, so I'm going to leave. So you're starting to lose competition. You're starting to lose to your competition, and people are going to other cities where they can explore their.
And it's funny you say that because there was a lot of tech people back in 2014 and 15. I mean, there was a tech company that was pretty big back then that brought some really big people in, and those people took off to LA and to New York and to wherever
San Francisco.
Yeah, where they were going to be able to make a name and establish themselves, and that's where they all jumped to. A lot, San Francisco, Oregon, even
Oregon.
Yeah, but we don't have that. We do not have that here. We don't have that backing. We're really not known for anything other than we're Philadelphia. We have
Used to be the music.
Poor sports fans, and people don't even. I think some people forget that we're the birthplace of the country too. People forget that this is where it all went down.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because the night that I saw you, as Natalie and I were walking past Independence Hall, I'm like, sometimes I forget.
Yeah, me too.
Where it all went down. I walk by this, on a regular.
Yeah, me being in Philadelphia, I can tell you how many times I've been to the Independent Small District in that neighborhood.
Oh, when I have
Probably like
friends that
four.
come and want to go see it, I'm like, really? You want to go see that? But it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm actually a geek when it comes to 1776 and that stuff, like the Liberty Bell, all that stuff. I get, I geek out over, but I don't really tell many people, that. Real quick, you talk about, I've been in Manayunk, Roxborough area living for years, and Curtis Jones has been our council person out there forever. Nobody runs against him. So
Yeah, he runs on the polls all the time.
well, yeah. And so each time I go to vote, I write my name in. As like, the candidate. I don't ever win, but, I write my name in. At least he has a run for his money there.
It's good to have hope.
Get a little run for his money because I don't even know where he's at anymore. I don't even know if he's around. We don't even see him. So, so I think your term limits are right. I think you're on nail on the head. What do you hope to see, man? What do you hope to see out of this coming up election coming up, for yourself, for the city?
For the city of Philadelphia, I just want to see the city trending in the right direction. And
getting Mayor Kenny out of there, it already is. But anyway.
Yeah, so I just want to see the city of Philadelphia trending in the right direction. I want to see, what I mean by that is getting this entire school district, Philadelphia school district, the public schools getting ran better. And I'm thinking that we're starting to see that because, and this is kudos to the entire city council of Philadelphia. The entire city council of Philadelphia, they did a very good job with trying to, let's fix this. We got to fix this. We can't keep doing it. And that's why you hear city council going at it with the Philadelphia school district so much. And I like that. It's okay to fight. It's okay to fight. Fight it out, damn it. And I get happy when I see that because it's like, it's only being brought up because people who are currently in the office and part of that government, city government, they're bringing it up now. We're talking about it more. I also want to see crime go down. Please get this crime down. I also want to see a new wave of jobs. Like I'm talking about in the STEM field, technology. I want to see the city of Philadelphia trending towards the future instead of living in the 1800s and the 1900s.
The crime, we have to start there. We have to get rid of the DA. But that's a different show, different time. That will start with the crime. But, you're passionate towards the youth as well. I hear this in you. I hear that you have this passion towards, bringing the youth up and helping because they're going to be leading our country. They're going to be leading us. And, it's one of those things like people say, oh, it's so scary. It's only scary if you allow it to be scary or if you don't teach them right from wrong or continue to do so or put belief in them and, speak up and you do that. So that's awesome. And I really
I'm a big advocate for the youth.
That's good.
You know what I've noticed as well? When people say I'm afraid of the future, it's because they don't have much hope in the kids, or they don't see much. They don't have much hope. They don't see much hope in the kids, and they're looking at it currently, right? They're going, no, the kids are just completely out of control. They're being kids, number one. Two, they have to learn. They're not adults, right? So when I see the kids acting out, it does raise my awareness in terms of them acting out and doing really, really being bad, right? Like really acting out. But I don't totally give up on them per se, because I remember when I was a kid, and a lot of things people talk about the kids don't have anything to do. There's things to do, right? Like for instance, the carnival was a big mob in the streets and at the carnival. The carnival was something to do, right? But they, evidently they screwed that up. They started acting crazy, and the carnival was like, well, it's our time is done here. I just think that we definitely need to get to the kids. You know what I think it is? I think that a lot of kids suffer from behavioral health problems.
Oh, mental health is huge, man.
Yeah, very.
It's huge, and nobody wants to talk about it because parents are all like, "Hey, get over it." Yeah. So that's also a different show for a different time. But a lot of it's behavioral. A lot of it's also the fact I think if we were to take away social media, half this stuff wouldn't be. There wouldn't be issues with a lot of this stuff. You know,
Yeah, and social media has a large influence, especially
you know,
on kids.
huge. So, you know, I'm impressed with how far you've come. I'm impressed with how far you want to go. I'm just impressed with the fact that, you know, you have this voice and you want to use it for your community.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's amazing. So if anybody wants to follow you, where can they follow you?
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn.
All James Whitehead?
Yeah, all James Whitehead.
All
I
James
made it
Whitehead.
easy. Made it easy for people.
Branded. That's the way to do it. Brand yourself. Brand yourself.
Make it easy. I do want to say one thing
Yeah.
to the viewers that may be watching this and the children of the future.
There might be one or two of them out there, hopefully, that are watching. We'll be good.
Yeah, it's going to be
we'll
more.
see. Yeah.
I'll make sure. So I do want to say this, that when you're transitioning, and it's going to be hard, because anything that you want to be better than yesterday, it's going to take you to like totally move it to the next level, to transition. But I do want to say this: be yourself. Don't try to be anyone else, but just be yourself. Your war wounds that you go through in life, with me living in the inner city community and going through depression, being homeless, wear that as a badge of honor, because there are people who would fall in enlightenment to your story and get inspired and want to do more. You know, a lot of people say, you know, why do you wear your hair like this? Because this is my style, right? People know me for that. Why do you smoke cigars? And that's just who I am. That's me. I don't want to be nobody else but me. And kids, even adults, be yourself, man. And continue to fight and be something great other than yourself.
I love it. That's the perfect way. I don't even have to ask what would be a voice for. You just told me. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's awesome. And I wish you the best of luck. I wish you the best with everything. And, you know, regardless of things, you know, you've got a good focus and a good direction going. So stick with that. You know, there are people, we need you in this city. We need people like you in the city who have that focus and that voice. So, you know, and like we said, you know, follow James on social media, all his channels, James Whitehead. Simple, not White House, Whitehead.
Yeah.
Right?
How'd you get White House?
I don't know. I was probably half asleep just typing that in there, and I'm like, that doesn't look right. You know, I'm like, you know, so
White House. Oh man, I like that.
That's
Maybe in 30 years.
Yeah. Hey, good aspirations to have.
Well, yeah. You know what? You know what's crazy? Before we disappear off this, I'm gonna sit this down. So when Barack Obama got in office, I was like, you know what? Maybe I can be the president, right? But then I thought about it, and I looked at Barack Obama's life, and I'm going, he got, you know, a wife, 2 kids, he's married, and he looks very perfect, right? Until Trump gets in office, now I truly think I could be the president, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He's been divorced like 3 times, whatnot. What is it?
Listen, anything's better than that shit show, so we're good, you know?
Now listen, Kanye West ran for president, right? Went down after, you know, Barack Obama, because a lot of kids in the ghetto thought that, you know, yeah, me president, I don't look like the president, right? Because of most years, all the presidents were completely white, and then Obama came in, and he was black, and he was also mixed with white. And then we have Trump coming off, and to me, he was more impactful. Rather than be to some people he was positive, some people he was negative, but he was very impactful, like on my life, per se, because now I can run for president.
Have you ever been on Fernando's show? Compass? You should be on that and talk to him about Trump the entire time. Get on his show, talk to him about Trump. He loves it. It'll be perfect. That'll be a great show. Just nail him about Trump the entire time. Just give him.
I got you.
Yeah, we'll set that up for you. You guys set that up for him. All right. All right, buddy. All right. It was great. Thank you so much for coming out today.
Absolutely,
I appreciate it.
I have fun.
Me too. We'll do this again for sure.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of my favorite interviews so far, because I was able to be myself and drop some knowledge and gems on people.
That's what I want. Humanize us.
You got it.
So everybody, thanks for tuning in today. James, thanks for joining me. Everybody, remember, whatever it is you stand for, be a voice. This is Britt Carpenter on USALA Media. Have a great rest of your day.